This is the year Apple makes a foldable. For the last decade, Samsung, Huawei, Google, Oppo all shipped foldable phones. Apple does nothing. This year, rumor is louder, and the signs are real. So, the question isn't whether Apple makes a foldable, it's whether Apple can do it better than anyone else. In this video, we are looking into how Apple designed a foldable iPhone and how Apple will turn niche foldable market mainstream. Let's start with the basics. What are the rumors actually saying? It starts with the screen. That's the whole phone. It's a passport shaped, about 7.8 inches on the inside, 5.5 on the outside, both OLED. The size isn't new, but the shape is smart. Folded shut, it feels like a regular iPhone. Open it up, you are holding an iPad mini. And this is the part Apple won't say it out loud. This phone already exists. It's called the Huawei Pure X Max. Same white book style shape, a 7.7-inch screen inside. Samsung building a wide fold of its own. So, by the time Apple shows up, the shape isn't new anymore. The wildest part? The phone that already nailed it is the one you will never be able to buy in the US. The other big swing is thinness, and not by a little. Rumors put it at 4.5 millimeters when it's open. If that holds, it's the thinnest thing Apple has ever built, thinner than the iPad Pro. Then there's the crease, that fold line ruining down the middle of every folding phone. The thing that kills the magic the second you notice. But here's the twist. The whole industry just cracked it at basically the same time. Oppo's Find N6 launched with a crease you can barely see. Samsung showed off a crease-free panel at CES. And that Samsung's panel, it's the one reportedly going into Apple's phone. The tech is ready. Apple just has to land it. For the frame, expect titanium, which is a little funny because Apple just dropped titanium on its Pro phones last year and went back to aluminum. But the super thin iPhone Air capped it. And the reason is simple. Titanium is a lot stronger than aluminum, lighter than steel. For a phone this thin, it's the only thing that keeps it from bending in your pocket. Now, a phone this thin has one obvious problem. Where do you put the battery? There's no room, but the fix already exists. It's called silicon carbon. It packs way more power into less space than lithium-ion we have used for years. Do you want proof? The Oppo Find N6 fits a 6000 mAh battery into a body 4.2 millimeters thick. Right now, it's mostly Chinese brands doing this. And Apple has been tight with China for decades. So, getting the batteries, that's not the hard part. Then there's the cameras. Every phone company spent half its keynote hyping up cameras now. And sure, they get a little better every year, but they are still phone cameras. The Pro line gets the good stuff. The foldable doesn't, so you get two cameras on the back. Both same as a normal iPhone, plus a front camera on each screen. Nobody is expecting a miracle here. That's still Pro territory. Inside, the A20 Pro, Apple's first 2nm chip, fresh from TSMC, dropped straight into its priciest phone. Same playbook as the iPhone Air, which ran the Pro version of the last year's A19. And finally, the price. Back on June 17, in a Wall Street Journal interview, outgoing CEO Tim Cook came right out and said it. Prices are going up. He blamed the memory shortage. His exact words, "Unfortunately, price increases are unavoidable." Oh, and Cook hands the key to John Ternus on September 1st, right as this phone walked on stage. So, how bad is it? Mark Gurman and Min-Chi Kuo put it between $2,000 and $2,500. The newest leaks, after memory prices blew up, pushed the top model toward $2,900. Pick a number, it's still the most expensive iPhone ever made. So, can Apple actually win here? First, we need to define what winning even means. Because the foldable market isn't one market, it's two. According to Smart Analytics Global, Huawei leads the global foldable market at 40%. Samsung is a distant second, Honor third. But two of these three don't sell a single phone in the US. Here's the Apple's ace, its home turf. In the US, the foldable market has exactly two players, Samsung and Motorola. That's it. Samsung is pushing hard. New models, aggressive promotions, and advertising. Motorola is not pushing nearly as hard. So Apple walks into its biggest market facing one serious rival and a billion loyal customers already holding iPhones. That's the first edge. The second one is quieter, and it's the part nobody selling a folding phone wants to talk about, the software. Because the hardware is the easy part now. The screen folds, the crease is gone, it's the apps that fall apart. Open an app on a folding phone, and half the time it doesn't scale right. It's stuck in a thin strip down the middle, or it just scratches on a phone layout across the whole screen. Everything blown up and clumsy. You unfold this gorgeous tablet-sized screen and the apps have no idea what to do with it. Why? Because nobody is going to rebuild an entire app for a market this small. The big names generally do it. Most developers don't bother. So people stop unfolding their phones at all. They leave on a little cover screen, $1,000 extra for a screen they barely open. Google spent years begging developers to fix this. It finally gave up asking and forced their hands in the latest version of Android. And this is the one fight Apple walks in already winning. Because Apple has something Android never had, the iPad. Think about it. For 16 years, developers have been building two versions of their app, one for the iPhone and one for the big iPad screen. Your email, your notes, your banking app, they already have a tablet layout. It's been there for years. Android never had that because Android isn't one phone. It's thousands of them. So developers built for the one that actually sells, the regular phone, and everything else just a side project. Tablets got ignored. Now foldables are getting the same treatment. And Apple already gave us a peek at how this plays out. In the new Mac OS called Golden Gate, you can finally resize the iPhone mirroring window on a Mac. Stretch it out to roughly iPad mini size, and Apple's own apps don't just blow up, they redraw themselves. Your inbox splits into two, a list of emails on one side, the message on the other, exactly like an iPad. That's not a concept render, that's running today, months before the phone even real. So open this phone up into that iPad mini size screen, and there's no wall of broken apps to rebuild from scratch. The big screen versions already exist. They have existed for years on the iPad. The phone isn't even real yet, but Apple has been ready for it all along. The screen was the only thing missing. And there's the thing about Apple's entering a category. It doesn't show up alone. It drags an entire industry with it. Hundreds of suppliers, accessory makers, parts manufacturers, all of them retooling overnight to build for the most valuable company on earth. We saw it with AirPods. We saw it with the Apple Watch. The moment Apple commits, the whole ecosystem follows. And over time, the technology gets cheaper for everyone, because that's the part that matters. The first folding iPhone cost more than some laptops, but Apple at scale is how expensive technology slowly becomes normal technology. Not this year, maybe not next year, but a foldable in everyone's pocket the same way the iPhone is right now. There is only one company that had done it before, and it's about to try again. So, how does this end? Two ways. One feature, Apple makes another AirPods. Back in 2016, they launched these wireless earbuds and everybody was laughing at them. People said they look like tiny hair dryers for Smurfs. Like someone snipped the cord of a pair of earbuds and called it a day. The internet would not let it go. And then, one by one, every competitor turned around and built the exact same thing. Apple didn't invent wireless earbuds. They just made a good pair and the whole market fell in line. The other feature, the Vision Pro. In 2023, Apple walked out on stage with a $3,500 headset. Look, by every account, the thing was incredible, a genuine marvel, and almost nobody bought it. Because it turned out you can build the most advanced gadget in the room and still build it for a market that isn't there yet. So which one is a foldable iPhone? Does it blow the whole category wide open like AirPods did? Or does it just sit on a shelf, brilliant and expensive like the Vision Pro? We find out in September. By then, Tim Cook is gone. John Ternus takes over as CEO on September 1st, right before the new iPhones drop. So this isn't only a phone launch, it might be the opening act of a whole new era at Apple. Either way, we will know soon enough. That's it for this video. Want to see how it shakes out? Hit subscribe and stick around. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.